Hello again. In our last video, we went over how I painted this croc using a really fun sponging technique I'd come across, and while it looks good, there are a few simple things we could do to really push the quality of it. One really basic thing is edge highlighting, and while it can be tempting to highlight as many edges as possible, less is more in this case, and I choose only to highlight areas that I specifically want to draw attention to. I also use some of the volumetric highlights from my base coat as a guide to find my bright points. This is also good for adding interest to otherwise dark areas like this part here. Next, we'll want to pick out some focal points to generate interest. I'll be using yellow, red, and orange for this section. The model has some slight dents for the eyes, but I choose to extend them out a bit to draw more attention to the face. I then start going around picking out details to break up the green. The wrist blade is another big focal point for the Mini, so I start by coating the whole thing in lead belcher. We'll come back in a minute to convert the top half into a heat blade. To do this, I first tried doing a loaded brush blend with red on the tip and orange in the belly. The results start off alright enough, but I struggle with the consistency of the paint and end up accidentally wiping away some of the wet paint. I decide to change tactics and coat the whole heat blade portion in a bright orange so that I can blend my reds in later using glazes. Due to the light pigmentation of orange, I end up needing a few coats to get a nice even finish. I then start applying thin red glazes to the very tip of the blade, with each subsequent glaze stretching just a bit further up. With the glazes on, I finish the effect by edge highlighting the blade in our original bright orange before sponging some metallic silver on for some corrosion. I sponge a little bit of brown over the silver to help the effect. Now, all good minis need a base, and this one came with a cool urban ruin environment pre-built. I decided to go simple with the colours and dry brush it all in grey sear for the concrete, focusing on the edges to get some highlights. I then apply a little bit of silver to the steel bars jutting out of the rubble, and then give both the steel bars and the rubble a once-over in Agrak's Earthshade. Then, once the cork is glued on, we give his feet and ankles a quick dry brush in grey sear for concrete dust, and give the base a nice clean rim. And with that, we're done. Overall, this was one of my favourite minis to paint to date. The sponging technique was super fun, and the quality of the print was incredible. I'm normally one to slave over the minor details of a model for hours and hours on end, but I surprised myself at the level of quality I was able to achieve with relatively little detailing in a much shorter time frame than is usual for me. Anyway, that'll be all from me. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you like what I do, and hop on by my stream if you have the time. Until next time.